Khalil, thank you so much for being here today. It is my honour to have you. You're one of my favourite humans and one of my favourite designers.
Thank you,
in
Jules.
Australia.
That's really beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here today.
It's an absolute pleasure to be with you.
Thank you. Now, tea with Jules.
Yes.
So I must ask you, how do you take your tea?
I take my tea black with some sugar, probably 1 or 2, depending on how sweet I like it. But yeah, it's been like that from a young age, black tea.
Well, I haven't got an English breakfast for you today. I've got a peppermint tea.
Peppermint's great. I
Is
love
that okay?
peppermint. After a big meal, I love to do a bit of peppermint tea.
Okay, yes.
Yes.
Calms down the belly.
It does.
Okay, well, we'll chug away on our peppermint tea.
Sounds good.
Now, you are a designer extraordinaire. You've dressed the who's who of the fashion industry, celebrities, everyone from, well, people that I've styled.
Yeah.
Jessica
We
Marboy.
worked together a few times. Yeah.
And you've even dressed me.
I have.
And a beautiful little dress. I
I
loved
remember
wearing it.
that the full skirt
Little mint
in
green
that
number.
textured, gorgeous fabric.
Yes. And you've also, I mean, you've done an amazing job dressing people on an international level as well.
Yes.
Giuliana Rancic is a huge fan of yours. I feel like every time I look at her, she's wearing one of your dresses. And you've just recently dressed Kylie Jenner.
Which was an incredible moment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that
how
was
did
so
that
good.
come about?
Well, I have a US showroom and US PR, so I think her stylist went over to the showroom and must have picked out the dress for her, and it all worked. And we don't know what's going to happen until it happens. So.
Yeah, because it is very much like that. They've, because I'm a stylist, and you never really do know what's going to happen until the minute
Absolutely.
the person is on the red carpet and they're wearing that dress.
Yeah.
They've got lots of different options, and depending on how they're feeling that day
Yeah.
or what mood
We get
they're
reports with who have the dresses and who's what pieces are out, but you just don't know what's going to happen. So it's always an incredible moment.
Oh yeah, when you
Yeah.
see the person in your dress, must be an amazing
It
feeling.
is.
All
It's
that
such
hard work.
It's an absolute dream come true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, talking about dreams coming true, you obviously haven't always been a fashion designer, so please take me back into your little childhood of Stephen. Little Stephen, tell me the story of how you got from little Stephen to Stephen.
To this Stephen. I was highly anticipating the wedding of Prince Charles and Diana.
You were?
Yeah, because I loved weddings. I was probably 7.
Really?
Maybe
Yep.
6 going on 7, and I loved weddings from a really young age, but it wasn't until I saw her in that gown that really something was just triggered.
Really?
And I just was really drawn to that fabric and how it was moving and the length in the train, and I was just in awe of it. And my mum even still remembers that moment, and I was saying to my mum, I'm going to make wedding dresses when I grow up. But from that point on, I started to really play with fabrics and cut into them, and it was almost as though I was being guided and driven to do this. And as I got older, it became stronger. And when I was about 13, I begged my mum for a sewing machine, and she brought me this little plastic one, which I used to make scrunchies on, and little Barbie doll dresses and things like that. And so it was an early obsession with fabric and drape and movement and train length. So I was always very in love with making wedding dresses.
For your mum to be so embracive of that and to fuel the flame,
she was incredible. I was raised by a single mum, so my father was never around. So I just think she thought it was just a phase, but she was definitely supportive, and I know that she got a lot of probably bad feedback from people around her saying, don't buy him sewing machines, stop buying him dolls, don't get him fabric and things like that. But it was too strong and it was too powerful. She couldn't control it.
Yep.
It was like a steam train.
It was your destiny.
It was my destiny, and she knew that I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so at school, I mean, was there any sort of backlash, or did kids around you
Yeah,
think
I got teased a lot at school, especially when I went to do textiles and design. I was always drawn to the creative kind of subjects, art, textiles and design. I even did woodwork. I built an amazing coffee table. So yeah, it was, I got teased and I got a little bit bullied and things like that. But I still had a good time at school. It was still fun, and I just dreamt my way through it.
So after school, you went to fashion school. You
did.
you did
Yeah.
different courses.
Yes, I studied at a few different places, but I did small courses, and I studied fashion design, bridal couture, and clothing production.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's kind of everything you needed
Yeah.
to begin.
Well, I wasn't getting into the fancy drawing schools because my drawing wasn't great, and I was still mastering that because I could draw a basic figure, but I was overweight and I was awkward and I was, I didn't know how to deal with who I was, and but I just knew I wanted to do that. So I'd show up to these fashion schools and everybody was dressed beautifully and had great drawing skills, and I was just awkward, and so I just wasn't getting into anything that I wanted to get into.
So you
So-
wanted to get into the fancy schools?
I did. I did. East Sydney was a big one, and I got rejected from there for like 3 years in a row. So while I was studying, I was just kept trying, and yeah.
Did you ever get in?
No, never got in. But I started working. Like I went and I offered to just work for free at bridal boutiques, and that's where the ball started to roll.
Yep.
And people started to recognise it. And by the time I was 21, my gowns were on every cover of the bridal magazines within the country, and it was just all happening.
You didn't even need to go to the fancy
I
school.
didn't, and all my friends that went to the fancy schools never pursued it.
I do love that about people that go and are successful. Those years that you do the hard yards where you do work for free, you
Yeah.
get up every day and you go to that job, and it's really just for the experience and the love of it.
Absolutely.
It's not for a financial gain at
Yeah.
all, and I think that there's a lot to be said for that, and the hard yards and the
Absolutely.
work that
Yeah.
goes into that, because those are things that prep you for the
Yeah,
real world.
Absolutely. You have to be prepared for the things that are not always going to be easy and smooth and fun. You have to ride through those times that almost collapse you.
I read the other day the definition of the word fearless, because I was fascinated, because I was like, what is being fearless? Because I feel afraid
Yeah.
a lot of the time.
Fear
so
is
I looked it
normal.
up.
Yeah.
And it says showing a lack of fear.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so interesting, because showing a lack of fear
Yeah,
is very
absolutely.
different to not having fear at all.
Yeah.
So I always think I do a lot of things afraid, but I think the important thing is to do them anyway.
Absolutely.
Even though you feel scared.
Yeah, and just, put the fears aside and just move forward with it and embrace whatever comes your way. It's better than not ever knowing what could have come of that moment.
Going from working for free
Yeah.
to being on the cover, tell me that part of the story.
I started to make little flower girl dresses, and then it's just evolved, and I was making wedding dresses, and then those wedding dresses got sent off to magazine editorial shoots, and some of them ended up on covers of magazines. Yeah.
And so from there, did brides or future brides start coming to
Absolutely,
you?
yeah. I was sewing wedding dresses in my bedroom at home. So I set up my bedroom at home like a little bridal boutique, and I used to make cousins their dresses in my bedroom, and bridesmaid dresses, and
So amazing.
one wedding dress led to two, and it just started to grow like a flower.
And when did you realize, okay, this is a thing, people want to wear what I'm making, they want to wear my designs. How did you then become a business?
When I was about 27, I had worked for other bridal boutiques and sort of done the hard yard of that part of my career, and the opportunity came up for me to open my own boutique. So from then on, it was like, you open a brand new business, it's really difficult. You make mistakes. I made very big mistakes in the early years, but I was learning from those mistakes because there was no one there to say to me, this is how you have to do it. I just had to learn myself. So
Did you have a team around you? Did you employ
Yeah.
people? And you
in
had
the beginning I had like a partnership, and then it doesn't work having a partnership, because when you're the designer in your own business, you're the one that's doing most of the work, so it's better to just do it on your own, I think.
Right.
Yeah, so I made lots of mistakes in the early years with the wrong people, and then once I'd made those mistakes, it just started to become easier. Not easier in a sense, but I got to know myself
Yeah, you
better.
knew what
And
you
then
didn't want out
yeah.
of your business.
And then I started to realize that it was growing much bigger than me, and I just appointed a business coach and great accountants, and they helped me to grow the business, and they were incredible. They're still with me now.
Where was your first boutique?
It was in Paddington.
Oh yeah, where
Yeah,
it is
just
now?
near where my shop is now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
across
a
the
great
street.
place for a wedding boutique. That's a
Yeah.
great suburb.
Yeah, it's a beautiful area. You know, that's our flagship store now, so we'll be there forever. And
Great.
it's exciting.
Well, good to know.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
so-
forever for now.
For now, until world domination.
Until world domination.
So you started with wedding dresses, and that
Yeah.
was your passion and your dream.
Yes.
And then you crossed over and started doing red carpet gowns.
Yes.
So how did that transition happen?
Well, some of the stylists from the networks noticed what I was doing, and they said, well, you can make a beautiful wedding dress, you can do a red carpet dress. I said, oh, okay. And they started to send the newsreaders and the reporters, and then they went into the Sonia Krugers and the Kate Richies, and it just started to grow. You know, that one dress just, you know, led to the bigger names, you know. And again, it was almost as though I was just doing what I was doing, and all these opportunities were coming and just knocking on the door.
To make a successful business, it is really about your customers, especially in a retail environment.
Absolutely.
But how important is the celebrity factor as well? When someone shows up at the Logies
Yes.
or wherever it is in a Stephen Khalil gown,
Yep.
what does that do for your brand?
It makes it more desirable. And I think when they see people on television, people like, you know, the actors, the actresses, all the celebrities, it takes the brand to that next level, because the everyday girl says, oh wow, so and so wears his dresses, I want to wear one of his dresses. They aspire to it, so it makes it more desirable. It really
And they
does.
just come running. I want to look like Kate Ritchie. Yeah.
Yeah, and making Kate's wedding dress was a big
yeah.
thing for me at the time,
She looked
because she was the
beautiful.
first big, you know, TV wedding. And everybody, you know, we grew up watching Kate on TV,
Yeah.
so making her wedding gown was, I think, the start of something special.
So tell me about the design process. I mean, I'm a stylist, so I'm on the other side of it. I get to put the people in the pretty dress at the end of the day, but you're the one who has to come up with the concept and the idea.
Yes.
Fascinates me. Where does it all begin? Does it begin with the fabric idea, or
A lot of the
colour?
times for me, it does begin with the fabric, or it can be anything. I could be somewhere and think of something and put it in the back of my mind, and I will say, oh, I'm going to keep that for that event or for that person, so that when they do come in, I'll suggest it. Or, you know, it really comes from all angles.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so, have you ever made something and thought, oh, no, this is not good?
Yes, absolutely. My God, 20 years of making
Yeah.
dresses and wedding gowns. There've been those moments, absolutely.
What do? Do you just scrap it and start again?
Yeah,
Or do you try
absolutely,
and just...
yeah. You start to know what works and what doesn't.
And what is it about the essence of a woman that you love? I mean, you make women, when we come to your boutique, you have a way of just making whoever you're dressing just feel like a princess. What is it about a girl and a woman that you love to make feel that way?
I think all the years of making such a special gown for such a huge moment for a woman in her life, I've just been trained and learned to realize that you got to deliver that kind of service. You have to make them feel special.
It's really exciting to get caught up in that moment.
Yeah.
I love that moment when a girl looks into the mirror and they feel
It's incredible.
beautiful. It's such a good moment to be a part of. And
Yes.
yeah, you're the person that's doing it. That's really, really exciting.
Yeah,
And
thank
I'm
you.
sure you've had some bridezilla moments as well. You can't be doing this for 20 years and not have some ripper stories.
Oh, look, the thing for me is, you know, so many people ask me about bridezilla stories, and I just don't feel comfortable. I don't feel right, because it's, you know, there's so much going on for these girls
Yeah.
in that time of their life, that I just let it happen.
Yeah.
And it's important to just work through it and let them be happy and ride it through. And You know,
Just cop it.
yeah, you just
You're a
gotta
good
cop
man.
it.
You're a good man. That's so good. Patient,
So, yeah,
kind,
you got to be
loving.
patient and you got to
Yeah.
do what you can. You know, I probably haven't been completely patient sometimes, but you know, you do have to try and work through it with them.
Yep.
Because in the bigger scheme of it, I think the dress is a moving target.
Yes.
You know, and a lot of the times with the brides, they can't control everything what's going on. There's family influence. There's
Yes.
so much going on. That one thing they can control is that dress.
Now let's talk about Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week. It's a very big week in the life of a designer and the fashion industry in general. It's the moment to shine for designers.
Absolutely,
Everyone
yeah.
comes to the shows. You've got magazine editors, stylists, bloggers,
Yep.
just people, the who's who of the industry come to your shows. Tell me, that is a mission, I'm sure,
Absolutely.
to get that show
Yeah.
to the standard of where you want it, and to choose the designs that you want out there, and to forecast and all of that. I can't even imagine
Yeah,
the pressure.
and the whole team has to come together, you know. Everybody's on board and hurrying through everything, and
Like
it's
how much
intense
time
moment.
do you have to prepare for that moment?
I started the collection in October last year, so I was prepared.
Yeah.
And I knew, you know, I knew what I wanted, and that side of it was really well organized. So I think the other side of it was, you know, obviously the sponsorships and all the, you know, the work with doing all that, which I didn't do myself, but Josh did all of that, which was incredible.
Josh is your
Josh is my PR
Yes.
and publicist. Yes.
So it does take an army, doesn't it?
It does.
You can't do these things on your own. You need a team of people that are just propelling you.
Absolutely, you know. So I was watching everybody, you know, not everybody, well, the girls were, you know, working on the collection. Josh was working on the show, and it was an incredible team effort. So it was really good.
I was at the show.
Oh, good. Awesome.
I loved it.
Did you love?
I loved the mustard. I
Yeah.
loved the high-waisted mustard skirt, the polka dot chiffon.
Yeah, that's a
Full
beautiful
length.
collection.
It's
And
beautiful.
those fabrics were imported from the most beautiful countries in the world, and you know, they were incredible materials and beading and detail, and it's gorgeous.
So tell me, have you got is it still the love of the wedding dress and the gown that gets you out of bed in the morning?
Absolutely, it's the wedding gown. I love the red carpet stuff and the evening stuff, which we're going to be delving into a little bit more. But the wedding gown is what makes my heart sing.
Yeah.
You know, it's my passion.
Yeah.
It's there is something beautiful about, you know, the ceremonial gown aspect of a wedding dress. That's why I think I'm very drawn to royal weddings and royal wedding gowns, because that's that tradition, it's that fantasy.
Yes.
So it's definitely still there.
What did you think of Kate Middleton's dress?
I thought she looked very safe. It was appropriate, you know. But if I had designed that gown, I would have made the train a little bit longer and just been a little bit more, you know, made it a bit more wow, where it was a little bit safe and conservative, but beautiful.
A lot of
Very
pressure.
gorgeous.
A lot of pressure. Would you have liked to
Oh,
have that pressure?
It's my dream to make a royal wedding gown.
Is it?
Yes, absolutely.
You're just going to make the longest train in the history of the world. It's going to be longer
You
than
know,
Princess Diana's.
I would do the same length. I'd do the 9 meters.
Would
you know, yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to
9
outshine
meters.
the
Yeah.
9 meters.
But it's, you know, you gotta take into it. You gotta consider a lot of things with trains. Even with my clients, I always say, how big is the church? How long's the aisle?
Yes.
Because you want it to be proportioned.
Yeah, that's true.
But
You
with a
don't want to-
royal wedding gown, you know, those cathedrals are huge.
There's no proportion.
There's no, you just go crazy.
You couldn't get one long enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I hope that you do that.
Fingers
I
crossed.
want to see this royal wedding gown.
Yeah.
I really do. I want it to be like huge.
Yeah.
To be bigger than.
I think I'd be
anything
great
I've
at
ever
it.
seen.
I think I could do this.
Well,
Let's put it out there.
yeah, you will. I think you're going to do it.
I hope so.
Okay, we'll have to find a princess for
We
you.
need a princess.
So what so far has been your career highlight?
You know, there's been a lot. There's been many. You know, working with the girls from, you know, the celebs, and you know, and there's also been highlights of brides who have been incredible, and you know, such a proud moment for them, and you know, to see them in their wedding gowns. There's so many to talk about, Jules.
Yeah.
There is really it's all a highlight for me, because I just love what I do.
What about your mum? Seeing you as a 7-year-old with this dream and now you're doing it, she must be over the moon.
You know, my mum is, she's so proud. I can't go anywhere with her, and she starts pulling out images and telling people who I am and what I do, and I'm like, Mum, put it away. You know, and you know, I love making her proud. She deserves that as well, because she's been through a rough trot herself. So you know, she often says to me that, you know, I saved her from so many things, and that she's really proud.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah, so.
Have you made her a dress?
Yes.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
She would love it.
Yeah, she's always, you know, it gets difficult because it's so busy, but, you know, she's my biggest fan.
Yeah.
And she's been an incredible force and an incredible mother, and she's a hard worker, and yeah, she's been amazing.
Mums are amazing,
yeah,
aren't they?
Absolutely.
They're amazing humans. Now, tell me, you've pretty much achieved everything by now, except for the royal wedding.
Except for the royal
which
wedding
is coming.
dress. It's coming. Yes. Yeah.
But what is next? What is the future of Steve and Khalil, the brand?
Look, we're currently working on a ready-to-wear line, which is going to be available to purchase.
You've made my day with that information.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that.
So my dream is to have a beautiful boutique that girls can walk in and purchase a beautiful evening gown, a gorgeous wedding dress, and, you know, maybe have boutiques worldwide, and you know, so that's the next stage.
Oh, that's really exciting.
It is.
Because it's accessible now.
Yeah.
That, you know, a girl off the street can just walk in and wear a Steve and Khalil dress. That's amazing.
That's the plan, so we hope it goes through.
Now, Stephen, honestly, this has been an honour. I told you before, when I first dreamed up the concept of Tea with Jules, you were the actual first person that I wrote down.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Thanks,
Yep.
Jules. That's
I'm a
awesome.
huge fan, and I'm
Thank
so
you.
glad that we finally got to sit down and do this.
That's
So
awesome.
thank you for joining me.
It's an absolute
Cheers
pleasure.
to you and the
Cheers,
future
Jules.
of
Thank you.
Steve and Khalil.
Thank you so much, Jules.
I'm excited to see what you come up with next.
Stay tuned.
More sequins, more lace, more everything.
More of it all.
More trains.
Longer train.
Longer trains.